Hello, welcome to Wisdom Within with Tina and Tonya. Tina and I were talking before we hit record and really realizing how adulting seems to make life a lot less fun and we need to be able to be a little less serious. So that is going to be our topic is how we can have more fun, more joy, less seriousness in our life. So, if you are done conforming to others' expectations, if you're done suppressing your wants and needs, you're done feeling like life has no meaning, and you're ready to stop taking life so seriously, you're ready to build a supportive relationship with yourself, address resentments and disappointments that come from suppressing the needs and wants that you have, and you're ready really to transform your life from the inside out, then you're in the right place because we're going to teach you how to do this using practices that support you mind, body, and spirit. And so we'll just dive into this topic. But first, we'll have Tina give us a little centering and grounding because I know I definitely need it today.
I do too. So I'm gonna burn a little Palo Santo. I feel like I need some good energy coming in here. Okay. So let's just take a moment, close your eyes, take a deep breath in, another deep breath in. One more deep breath in, and when you exhale, just release everything. Just let everything go. Imagine that you have roots growing from the base of your spine and the bottom of your feet, and allow those roots to go down through the floor, down into Mother Earth. As we allow those roots to spread out, be stable, let Mother Earth stabilize us, hold us stable there. So we connect to this energy. Take a minute just to call back any energies that you've sent out. Call those back. If you feel like you need to release any anxiety, frustrations, send those down to Mother Earth to be recycled. Let them go down through the roots. Allow yourself to be grounded, calmer, and more stable. Go ahead and open your eyes. We can get started.
Thank you. That feels so much better. I've been off in energy and exploring a little bit, so I felt a little less grounded. So thank you. So I love this topic of taking life a little less seriously, because I definitely know that over my lifetime, and I'm a projector, right? So I love to go deep and I love deep conversation and I love doing the deep work. And I have a tendency to get stuck there. And my day to day becomes, I mean, it's not like I swim in it every day, but it feels like my day to day becomes heavy, serious. So I love this idea and topic of today of just like no more.
Some fun.
Let's have some fun. Yeah. Do you find yourself doing that too?
Oh man, we talked earlier, and I was trying to think of the last time when I was younger, how when I felt that joy, that childlike joy, And I don't remember times, when I really did, because I have spent most of my life as like this melancholy, serious person, always going through all of the, you know, life serious. I never really, oh, I did have a lot of fun when I was drinking. Yeah.
I had that in my mind too. I'm like, "Well, I've had those times where there's lots of laughter." But yeah, it was under the influence. So,
Yeah. Yeah,
mhm,
I had a lot of fun when I was drinking, and so yeah, I find myself, and as I've gotten older, um all through my adult years, it seemed like you're just so busy. You're always trying to um reach the next goal, or achieve the next big thing, or sometimes, as a being a single mom, it was just surviving my, working, taking care of my kids, trying to buy groceries and put gas in the car, and that was it, and it was always such a it feels heavy, it was heavy, and it was always I always was so serious.
mhm.
And so yeah, it's hard to
It is,
get out
and
of that too.
I think too, we have all the things, like feed the kids, because single mom here too, I get that, or
Mhm.
pay the bills, feed the kids, do the things. But then I also feel like, at least for me, there was the piece of, am I doing it right? The like reaching out to others, asking them for guidance on how to raise these kids and how to, my kid's crying all night or they're colicky, or I mean, even things like that, and just reaching out for help with other people. But then you get the added, well, if I don't do it her way, then she's going to be mad. And now she's giving, this other person's giving me advice. And we've got the moms, the in-laws, the great grand, whatever. And
Mhm.
it's just like there's so much that comes at us. And I think it starts way young. But as kids, we have that escape because we have our time with our friends, right? Like those teenage years are really about separating from parents and connecting more with peers. Like that's what that lifetime is about. So we have that time where we're like shedding the parents don't mean shit anymore. And then we get into our own like adulting time, and all of a sudden we turn back to our parents for guidance, and it feels like the weight of the world just gets put on your shoulders.
Mhm.
I mean, I still feel that way often.
Right. I do too. And it feels like, I don't know, I think we take on, I don't know if it's been put on us. I think we feel like we should, right? So we're shooting ourselves there,
Yeah.
shooting on ourselves. But we feel like we should be taking on this weight, and that's how being an adult feels, right? Feels like we have this weight, and we have all these things that we need to be doing, and we have all this, and we're not we're not allowed to have that fun. We're not allowed to have that childlike joy. We're not allowed to have these fun times. We are busy taking care of our families and taking care of our life, and
Yeah.
so I think we have that, and maybe it's the societal uh, conditioning that we live with, you know, um, where we see that, and so we think we should be that.
Mhm.
And I've since I've turned 60, I think I've been more apt to fall back into the childlike, I would go run around and chase my little granddaughter and play fun, have fun. Let's dance. Let's,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, and I really resonate with that a lot because, as we've been talking, because the relationship between projector and generator, right? It's like projectors are guiding that energy and helping to guide that energy. But I always am like, well, what brings you joy?
Mhm.
And it's hard to find that. And I know that it's hard for me to find that too. Not, I mean, I do find things that bring me joy. I find things that lift my spirits, but um I actually Googled a while ago, like, how do I find happiness? This was years ago, but
Mhm.
everything brought me back to, what did you do when you were a kid? and I'm like, That's not helpful. I grew up riding horses on a ranch that was not even mine. Like, I don't do that now. And it's not gonna happen anytime soon. Um, and I'm not actually drawn to that anymore. And so I did still have to totally reinvent myself. I had to find things. And it was so it's different as an adult when you wanna bring in that joy because, when you're a kid, there's so many other people like, we get inspiration by other kids. We get invited to play or we watch them play, and that looks fun, so then we grab our own friends and do it. Like, there's just a natural flow to all of that that kinda gets lost, and then here we are where now it's with grandkids or with me, it's like my grand puppies. Like, I just loved it when I got to go babysit the grand dogs, and I was like, yeah, I,
Mhm.
f- in a way, it's like we're regressing, but yet we're not. Like, it's so much different.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And that's when I know when my first grandbaby was born, and I started watching her, and you start watching the childlike wonder, just like, and I'm gonna cry. I told you I might be able to make it through this subject, but I probably won't. Um, I would go out with them, and as it because my daughter had kids pretty close, so her first two were a year apart, almost exactly. And so when they started walking around and stuff, and I spent a lot of time with them when they were little, and I would go out there with them and just watching. I mean, I would just be like in awe of this childlike wonder because I had lost it. I had, like I said, I didn't remember when the last time I was able to tap into that. And so I knew I had lost it. But when I started being able to watch them and just going out and playing in the mud, making mud puddles or going out and chasing butterflies or picking a flower or and I would bawl then too because I would be like, oh, this is so, you know. And and now they're all grown. My grandkids are all grown up now. Well, I shouldn't say grown up, they're teenagers. And now, except for one, I have a 3-year old, and I'm back in that space of just watching her have we walked to the park, and she was so excited to walk to the park. And she was, I want to swing, I want to do this, I want to do that. And she'd go swing, I swing, or and she just gets so excited. Or else we're standing in the living room right before bed the other night because I had been able to spend some time with them this last weekend. And so um we were in the living room and we were watching TV, and she was getting ready for bed, and a song came on, and I got up and I started just kind of moving around, and she got up and she just danced, and she would just have this it's just like this childlike abandon, just like dancing around. And so I chased her around the living room. We danced all around the living room and things like that. And it just, to me, I don't know, it's just so amazing to watch a child. And it just reminds me that like you said, I want to regress back to that. I want to be the grandma that's dancing with or just playing, having that fun and finding those things that bring me joy.
Mhm.
And I've been working on it,
Yeah.
but
Well, and as you were talking, I was thinking about the difference of the grandma that will play versus the grandma that doesn't, right?
yeah.
Um, and our like and even the variety of experiences that we have with that. But I think it's really that with adulting almost comes I mean, there's so much projections and so much judgment and so much whatever. So we end up in this place where we're super uber serious, right? we have to teach our kids the right way to worship. We have to teach our kids the right whatever, like rules. We already did that topic of rules, but
Right.
I will link that in the description below. Did that one because rules are not good. But we get in that place where we're always trying to teach our kids or to teach our grandkids or to teach ourselves or like all those things. And I and there's also that judgment as we start to step out of it. And I think that's one thing that is hard as well is as I step out of that box and start finding more joy, start doing different things, I'm having so much fun with some of the stuff I'm learning about. I still have a tendency to go super serious, but I mean, you've seen me. I'm just like
Yeah.
so excited when I start playing with these things and like bringing in the witchy vibe and the energy and just I like that. I light up. I feel so good with it. And yet there's still projections that come in almost from other people. And I think some of it's jealousy. I think some of it's fear. Like there's a shit ton of places where that comes from, but you feel it and it makes you feel like, oh, I shouldn't have this much joy. I shouldn't feel this excited. I shouldn't. And so we then start to go back into serious mode. At least I do.
Mhm.
Um, and we have serious topics and we have serious conversations. And I think there needs to be a little more of a balance or even less balance, but the scale needs to tip to more fun, having those serious conversations, but less often, less lengthy, rather than spending 2 hours on that, having, you know, just really, like, giving ourselves permission to chase those things that make us feel excited. I mean, I don't feel like a little kid, but I almost act like one,
Yeah.
you know?
Right.
And but I feel it when I'm in that playful energy, and I freaking love it, and it feels contagious to me. I see people light up around me when I come in with that vibe.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
yeah, and I've seen that even, like, with you, like, when we're all doing stuff and it's like,
Mhm.
"Ooh,"
Mhm.
it's fun,
Right.
and it helps lighten life.
It does. And I feel like with you, I've watched you like with your crystals. It's
And
like
the crowds.
it's like you're like a little kid bringing the rock to, look. And it's like it's just like so contagious. It feels it's so fun. And I feel like we tend to like even in the spiritual world, um we feel like we have all these rules. Again, we're back with the rules of you need to be so serious. I mean, we're going to do these ceremony or whatever, and it needs to be so serious, and we have to do all the things just right or whatever, and I, I, I feel like we can have that. We should have that reverence. We should have that feeling of reverence for the spiritual world and whatever, but I don't feel like we're here on this earth to be in that reverent, serious space all the time. I feel like the thing that like you said, it's more contagious when it's fun or whatever. And it's like with my drum circles, what I finally started bringing in with the drum circles because they start to feel heavy when we're drumming because we're doing a lot of work there. We're drumming, we're releasing, or whatever the ceremony is or the drum circle is about. It starts to feel heavy. And when we can bring in some music, turn it up loud, and music is one of the best things that we can. It kind of mood changes moods, when we pull in that music. So when we can pull that in, turn the music on full blast and just drum and just move and however you want to move, if you want to dance, if you want to walk around, whatever, but that just helps to lighten that heaviness, and it brings us brings us into some fun.
Mhm.
Let's laugh and have some joy there.
I have really felt that when you've shifted that with the drum circles, like you have a really strong sense of being able to read the room, read the energy in the room, and you just know when to you're like, we got to move. And
Mhm.
I'm always like, yes. And but it really has helped release and lighten that energy. I mean, we're still releasing stuff and we're still doing the work that we are there to do, but it feels different. And I think that's part of the intent is paying attention to the vibe, to the energy, to when it feels heavy. And I think when we're stuck in heavy and we're stuck in taking things seriously, it's like the water temperature, right? You don't notice it increasing or decreasing when you're in it.
Right.
And so before long we're in that super serious and everything sucks state, you know?
Yeah.
Um and I loved, like, the movement and the music that comes in with it. So for me, I'm picking up that one of, like, the very first key things for people to do is recognizing where you are. Am I stuck in too serious? And I think even, like, making it a little bigger, like, what conversations am I having? Where is my mental time, emotional time spent? Am I focusing on these because we always have a million laundry lists of shit to fix with us, right? I want to eat better. I want to move better. I want to
Right.
make more money. I want to fix this relationship. I want to help my kids. Like we have all these things that are on our to-do list to dos that are all heavy.
Mhm.
And where are we investing all our time in all of that? Like that's a recipe for a really unhappy adulthood.
Right? And I feel like I know we just did one on gratitude, a video on gratitude just recently, and I I feel like I've been contemplating this happy thing quite a bit recently. Um, and I know that happiness is an inside job for one. And you can be, no matter where you are, you can be happy. No matter what you're doing in your life, you can be happy. But what does it take? It takes contentment and gratitude, right? So if you're content with your life and so grateful for your life, that's where your happiness can come in. And it can be, you can be living in a shitty place in a, and people, how many times have you seen people that are, poor, living in crap, and they're just the happiest people? And it takes that, to me, that's what I feel like. It's the contentment and the gratitude, being grateful for what you have now. And when we're in that state of happy, when we're in that state of joy and gratitude, it's helping us to manifest what we truly want, right? So it helps us to, and like me being the generator, if I'm doing the things that I'm joyful, that are joyful to me, that I love, that light me up, that excite me, that is bringing more out into the world to you, or
Mhm.
helping, or others are starting to, there's that contagiousness again, I guess
Mhm.
that's a word, I don't know, but there's
It
that,
is now.
you know people are seeing it, and that energy of that is what draws people to us, right? And so I know that me being the generator, which I didn't know until I met you, well, no, I guess until you started doing the human design stuff, but I didn't realize that that was a big part of my thing. So when things light me up, then you know people are drawn to me
Yeah, we all
because,
benefit.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So there's that.
Mhm. And I think with one thing that you said really kind of went ding ding for me about how we get there, and that is society and the culture at large tells us what we need for happiness, right? We need the fancy car, the fancy clothes, the fancy house, the perfect partner. Like, here's what you need. And in big business, like that's phenomenal marketing, right? I'm like, that is bank for their wallet because I need to buy the car, I need the clothes, I need the da 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 da. And it's more, more, more. And the industry at large is like, yeah, because the more you need, the more work you need to do. So you're working longer hours, you're now starting another job. Like it feeds the machine, so to speak,
Mhm.
of commerce, which I don't have a problem with, but I think we need to be more aware of what we're doing, aware of the purchases. Is this really going to bring me joy? Like, because how many times there have been times in my life where I have spent way too damn much money for the clothes in my closet and I have been freaking miserable.
Right.
And we get stuck in that spin of keeping. And I have like, okay, my Chiron's in Taurus, so I have that fear of loss. That's my wounding is loss. And it's specifically with me, it's the loss of material, right? So
Mm.
I know how hard that is to like, I don't want to lose my stuff. I have a connection to my stuff. Like they're my family. I get it. Um, and if I stick in that, I really can have that tendency to be super serious because I got to work hard. I got to feed the machine so I don't lose my stuff. And holy crap, talk about a way to suck the joy out of everything that we do.
Mhm.
And when we start looking at it from that bigger perspective, we can really start putting things into perspective. And exactly like what you said, some of the people in the most humble of circumstances have the most happiness because they're not caught up in the BS story that we're sold.
Right. Right. And I see that so much, or we see that, just like what you said, I have spent, I used to wear $300-400 suits, because I had to look the part being in the business world and whatever. And it's like, no, that's not what brings you happiness. And when we when we can settle in and think about those things that actually do bring us happiness, is it all the stuff, you know? And sometimes it is your crystal.
I did think of my
Yeah.
motorcycle. So there is a part of me
Your
that's like, yes.
motorcycle, right, right. And sometimes it is those things. But in it's mostly in here, right? It's what's in here
Mhm,
that is going to bring us happiness. And what is that? That is loving ourselves. That is being content with where we're at, ourself. Because part of the happiness thing is, that unconditional love for yourself, right? Because if we don't love ourselves, we're not going to truly be find that happiness.
mhm.
And I don't know if we've already had this conversation or not with our videos, but I'm bringing it up again. But that's how I feel, is like there is a big part of it that needs to be that going inside and finding that unconditional love for ourselves. And which, we say going inside and we say doing this work and that it's work. Yeah, it's
Mhm,
hard. It can be hard because we've been taught so much that everything's outside of ourselves, and that happiness is that, we have to reach for that next coolest thing or the more money or the house. It's all outside of ourselves. That's what's going to bring us happiness. But in reality, what's going to bring us happiness is that unconditional love, that gratitude, that,
mhm,
feeling like we're content in our lives, the being able to enjoy our own company, those little things are and they're not little, but
mhm,
sometimes they're the hardest things that we can do,
mhm,
but those are the things that bring that happiness. And I know I
mhm.
got really serious on that, so I need to move on.
Well, and one of the things I was thinking of too was, when we get into so just because I brought up the motorcycle, like that is something that brings me joy that I feel a lot of fun with.
Mhm.
But when I'm in that place of taking things too seriously, it's hard for me to actually go get on my bike because that energy, and I think it's important to talk about that energy, because when we're talking about like our wisdom within and everything, it is paying attention to what does my energy feel like right now? Because sticking in that seriousness place for too long, man, that drains our energy. And then we don't have the energy to do the fun things. It really, it's a cycle, right? And it feeds that cycle. And so I know on one hand that the way to get out of that cycle is to go play, go ride a motorcycle, go dance with go play with the puppies, go do
Yeah.
whatever, go play. But yet we have to have enough energy to go play. And anyway, it just like you can see
Yeah.
how that we just get stuck in that cycle over and over
Right.
again. And so really when we talk about breaking the cycles, I mean, that applies in this way too, to
Mhm.
breaking that cycle of for ourselves, our own little energetic spin cycle that we're sitting in of too serious, too heavy, too many rules, too many have tos, and go freaking enjoy the toys that you spent so much money on. Or,
Right.
like I,
Right.
what we just, that is part of it is that seriousness, even though like what we are talking about with the spiritual community and the work that we're doing, and those things can be heavy. We've got to have an outlet, right? That ability to have that deep conversation with a friend, because that is something that I really truly hunger for depth. I don't do surface. I love deep conversations. And I want to be able to like laugh until I snort or until I cry or and it's I recognize I can do a gazillion deep conversations and before I know it, I don't remember the last time I've literally just laughed,
Right.
you know?
I tend to do that too, and I I like to have those deep conversations too, and I like to, but I realize too that I find myself doing that same thing. It's like we're staying in that mode of, just serious, serious, serious all the time. And yeah, it gets heavy.
Mhm.
And I'm the same way. I don't I once You're right, because once I am in that, then I struggle to even get myself out, because I know one thing that brings me joy is walking outside, just going outside, and it's just kind of lifts my spirits. And that's all I need to do is just walk outside, and I'll sit in this darn little office, and because I'm like so serious and so trying to get things done, and so I'm in it, and can't bring myself out of it.
Mhm.
And so it's yeah, we do it's hard to find that balance, but if we can find that balance, I think I'm going to try and find the balance, or try and be less serious and more
Mhm.
fun. I need
Yes,
to
a
find that.
little bit.
Yeah.
Well, and I think one thing you said I really kind of latched onto, and that is try to find, because I think that is key. We can't just keep doing what we're doing and expect different results. And it really is value in trying new things and in the adventure of going and doing. And I know that not everything, I know money's always an issue or something, not always, but for many, but it doesn't always have to cost a lot. It doesn't always have to be costly. But I think looking for those opportunities and seizing the moment when they come, because too often we're like, well, I don't know if I can, I don't know if I can fit it in. And yet so much can come from that. I just got back from a weekend adventure with a couple girlfriends, and I mean, we went to this hotel. It was really cool. And there was at one point we were decide like we got to go walk through and pick our rooms. So at one point I'm like, oh, this is gonna be my room. And then we're looking for where they're gonna stay. And so we actually went to a different floor and they're like, well, we'll stay on this floor and you stay on that floor. I'm like, oh, the hell, you are not leaving me. Like, but what was so funny was their reaction to the look that I gave them. And they're like, "You should have seen the look on your face. I wish you'd have had it because you were like, no." I'm like, "No." And then, later on there was some wind blowing through and so we're in this hallway and we can hear the creak and hear a door shutting and there's no doors moving and we're like, what the hell? And we're just like, and just it was hilarious to watch us freak out in that little moment. And like, I mean, I'm still laughing at that. And the whole adventure was amazing for me, but that laughter was the medicine. You know,
Mhm.
there, because I have so many deep lessons that I have from that whole weekend that I'm still processing, but that laughter was the medicine.
Right.
And I could have said no to that adventure and stayed home, but I would have missed that. And I really think that trying new things, getting out, not necessarily scaring ourselves because I don't really like to be scared, but just that whole like it just brought out that laughing till the tears come up, laughing
Mhm.
till, you know, it I don't remember when I have chuckles, I have laughter, but I didn't have that and it's been a while.
Yeah.
And I feel like we look for that, but what if we create it? Like what if we
Mhm.
are the ones who bring that energy? What if we are the ones that I don't know, laugh at our stupid expressions, laugh at our selves, you know, just intentionally bring that playful, less heavy
Right.
vibe.
That's and you're right that if we can do that on a daily basis or whatever. I've been working on that a lot with in the, here around here. Joe's kind of like looks at me like, well, I mean, because like even he'll ask what's for dinner, and I'm like, it's Taco Thursday.
And he's like,
And he's like,
"Oh
huh?
boy."
Or, just little things like that. Or I'll walk through the house and they'll just be like, doo, 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 And so I've been trying to bring a lot more of that in just because I miss that.
Mhm,
And, it's just me and Joe up here. So it's kind of like, what else am I going to do? And so I try to bring in more just by myself, just,
mhm,
little I'll start giggling at stupid things or whatever, just to kind of just allowing myself because I've always been such a serious, melancholic person that I've never really allowed myself to be that just, Taco Thursday,
mhm,
giggly person, and
mhm.
so trying to let it let it be that
Let
way.
it be. And I
Yeah.
think too, just because when I worked in I worked with a group of people and I actually did like the ladies that I worked with. They were amazing, which I know is a gift.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, oh man, we just would laugh. Like, there was one that just had a sense of humor that was just she could just make everyone laugh, and I really do miss getting to spend time with her because there probably wasn't a day that went by that she just had this very, very loud, very fun laughter, and we just laughed. And now that I work for myself, it's very different. But, so I do spend more time alone than I
Mhm.
used to, but I can bring it at my house too, and even when I'm home alone, um, I can do all those weird and crazy things, and I don't have to worry about people seeing me or what they're gonna think, and so, you know, being able to bring that in, it's Taco Thursday or whatever it may be, and just
Right.
again, it goes back to that intention, right, of because usually, especially when we're alone, we're lost in our thoughts. And they're
Mhm.
typically negative, right? Or they're
Right.
planning or they're busy, whether they're busy beating us up or busy worrying or even just busy with the to-dos. It's busy thoughts and it's heavy. So like
Mhm.
where can we bring in that? I used to say when my kids were little that they would spontaneously combust because it's like all of a sudden they'd be on the floor and they'd be flopping like a fish. And
Yep.
I mean, even the
Yep.
dogs were like, that's not normal. We, you know, I mean, it was chaos.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm probably not gonna flop like a fish, but is there something I can do to lighten that energy even being home alone?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
yeah, there is. It's music.
Right.
It's we listen to podcasts, we listen to books, we listen to those murder mysteries or whatever it is that we listen to, and those are fun, but can we just turn on the music that raises the vibe,
Hmm.
and it can literally shift our it's the power of an instant,
Right.
right? And I think
Right.
we can take more advantage of that instead of utilizing that time for more heavy thought, more big, deep work.
Right.
There's plenty of time for that. We need more
Yeah.
time for fun.
Yeah. I totally agree. And I think that's one thing that we need to just be more conscious of,
Mhm.
bringing in that fun, however it is for you, and
No rules.
exactly, no rules.
No rules of people will think I'm crazy. What will the neighbors think?
Yep.
Who gives a crap? Let them think what they
Exactly.
want.
Yep.
Bring
Yep.
ourselves some joy.
Yep. I totally agree.
Well, do you have any other thoughts on this before we do a little closing? I feel like this is
um
just a good,
yeah.
short, and sweet topic.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think that's good. So,
I think for me, the only thing I would add would be challenge yourself. Put this in your to do, put it in your list of things,
list.
find time, something not to make it a to do, but just to create space in your life while until it becomes more, until the scales adjust for you. Cause
Mhm.
otherwise it's kind of hard to find a way to fit it in.
Right, right. I agree. Well, that would be perfect. So,
All right. Do you want to close us?
close us out.
I don't know why I
Um,
did this. It was this. We're gonna close it.
We're closing.
Bringing in the
All right.
playfulness, right?
So go ahead and just yeah, close our eyes for a second. Allow ourselves to come back in to our body. Ground into this and set the intention to find a little joy in what you're doing just today. Yeah, go ahead and open your eyes and we'll call it good.
That feels amazing. All right. Please like and subscribe. And truly, what helps us the most is if you will share this with someone who you also feel can benefit from this, someone that maybe needs to take life a little less seriously, and could definitely benefit from this conversation as well as our channel. So, thank you for being here, and we will see you next time.
Yes, thank you.